want to welcome everyone to the Faith and Friendship Virtual Support Group. We're here to support those living with chronic illness, to help them and their caregivers and loved ones feel safe in this space where we are making sure that we stay compassionate as we share experiences and connect and draw strength within the community. This group is open to all faiths and all backgrounds are welcome. We invite you to visit the Facebook or YouTube pages for the community resource guidelines and ways to stay connected. I want to thank everyone who is here and who will be watching this in the future, and to just know you are not alone. Today, I want to shift gears a little bit from some of the things we've been doing in the past, and I want us to embrace our differences in a different way today. I want everyone to find a lightheartedness in their challenges. I want to say disabilities because there's so many, and some don't consider it a disability. Some, it is just a challenge. But in any case, we all have different challenges. And while they're all different, we can understand that they can be also a transformative thing that we go through. It's more than just something about us. It's something that, you know, we have to deal with every day, that it's a part of us. And we forget that even though it may not be what the normal is very subjective. And we have to remember that. And it shifts depending on where you are, what you're going through. My normal is different from your normal. Your normal is different from somebody else's normal across the world. Each of us have the power to define our own normal in many ways, and we can turn those challenges to strengths. And with that, we can, in some cases, even overcome those challenges, because they can become basically a source of creativity or inspiration to fuel something else in our lives. And when we share those things and we draw on the strength from our community, we find a new way of connecting and finding joy. And it all really comes down to the perspective that we're seeing it from. So with that in mind, I wanted us to share how some people are taking that same sentiment and using it and finding joy and creativity in it. So I'm going to share a video with you guys.
Obviously, I have a disability. I think the technical term for it is being very handsome.
Where would you like to be? Do you want to see yourself as a touring act, TV, or Vegas?
When I was growing up, there was nobody that looked like me on television, so I kind of want to be the first one that's doing all that. I want people to be able to look at what I'm doing. Good.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. So I love being a stand-up comedian. This is what I always wanted to do. I have had other jobs in the past, though. I used to juggle chainsaws. It went well for a while. I had to get out, couldn't take the politics, is what it was. The other thing I wanted to be was a pro wrestler. That's the absolute truth. I had a name picked out and everything. I was going to be the Cripple Threat.
Okay.
That was clever. But people will ask me dumb questions all the time. I'll get this one a lot. They'll be like, "Hey, Ryan, is that genetic?" Yes. Because you see, my mom was Irish, and my dad was a lobster. Kids are the worst, though. Oh, kids are the absolute worst, though, because kids don't have that filter. You know, if a kid says you're ugly, all right? Deal with it. Buy a hat. I don't know what to tell you. I had this 8-year-old girl recently come up to me, and if you're ever feeling pretty good about yourself, let an 8-year-old girl verbally kick you in the nuts. That'll fix that for you. But this little girl, after she saw me, and after screamed, it was a big scream, Which, side note, has led me to a new game that I play. Now when I'm out in public and I see a child staring at my arms, I like to pretend that I'm discovering them for the first time, too. And they're like, what are you? Oh my God! What happened? Tell us about it! And that's why I'm not allowed at Toys R Us anymore, so. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Ryan Nemo, you guys. Thank you so much.
I'm okay with my voice, but I still struggle with some things like I have the hardest time at a drive-through. You know, cause you gotta say the order fast, and you're talking through an intercom. It's like I don't know why I work there. But I want to get to where people start to use my voice as the voice of their GPS. It's like in 1,000 feet, make a U-turn. Your destination is ahead of you on the right. Rerouting. U-turn. You should have got. I believe that you can turn anything into positive. That's why I'm here. But I've come along some people who don't think that. Like I did a show one time where a guy stood up and it's like, hey, you can't just make fun of disabilities just because you have one. I was like, well, did I stutter? Thank you guys so much.
Don't worry, I know what you're thinking. Harry Potter's had a nasty Quidditch accident. Do you know what I can't stand? Sorry, let me emphasise. Do you know what I can't stand? But look on the bright side. I've never had to queue at Disneyland. Now, I'm just going to throw a disclaimer out there. If I do get too energetic, please stop me. I want to keep my benefits. Otherwise, how would I heat the jacuzzi? I'm joking. It's a pool. I was at the cinema seeing the new James Bond film the other day, and it got me thinking, you know, maybe I would have liked to have had a go, you know, being James Bond, but obviously I'm a bit inhibited. Ah, Mr. Bond, I've been expecting you. No lift. But this isn't the first Britain's Got Talent event I've been to. I was actually at the live tour in Manchester, funnily enough, 2 years ago. And the staff, they couldn't have been more helpful, moving people out the way, getting us to a seat. And then when we finally got there, the view was just fantastic. And we sat down and my sister, she tapped me on the shoulder, turned round, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. She said, "Jack, we are so lucky you're disabled. You cannot take her anywhere." Thank you very much, I've been...
What's your name?
My name is Samuel J. Comro. I'm a stand-up comedian.
Oh, wow. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing comedy for 10 years now.
Do you do it full time?
Yeah, do it full time.
Okay. Are you nervous?
No, I have Tourette syndrome, so I twitch a lot. I blink real fast. My head flops around. If you see that, it's kind of cute.
It is.
Thank you.
And what does this mean to you, coming to AGT now?
This means everything. I've worked my entire life for a moment like this. They don't come very often. I'm really grateful. I just had a baby girl, and this is a beautiful opportunity.
Wow. And your family's all supportive of this career?
Yes, since I started, they've been 100% behind me, so I'm very
All
thankful.
right. Well, you know what? It's scary enough doing whatever you do to hit that X, and I just want the best for you. I really
Thank you.
do.
Thanks so much.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So like I said, I have Tourette syndrome. It's why my head flops around. I blink real fast. It's weird. It always looks like I'm trying to tell you a secret. This twitch gets me in trouble. My roommate came home from work. I was like, dude, our neighbor died. He said, did you kill him? I was like, nah. Yo, this is a true story. When I was 10 years old, my parents sent me to Tourette's camp. Yeah, that's where the joke should end. It's a real place, and I didn't realize it till this moment, but I found out that when other people twitch, it makes me twitch more. So on the first day, they put us in a circle with 100 kids.
Oh, no.
The kid next to me did a shoulder roll, and my Tourette saw that and took that as a challenge. And I threw him a head flop. The girl next to him did a full body twitch, and everybody saw that, and all hell broke loose.
To America's Got Talent All-Stars. What is your name?
My name is Vitória Bueno.
Hi, Victoria. And how old are you?
I'm 18.
And where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil. And tell me a little bit about your story.
Eu nasci sem os braços e minha mãe só soube no meu nascimento, na hora do meu parto.
She was born without her arms.
Eu comecei a dançar com 5 anos, através de uma que percebeu a minha paixão pela dança nas...
Well, when she was little, her mother brought her to my mother dance studio, so she started to dance, and since then we are like a family.
Oh, wait, so you're not only her interpreter, your
No.
mother was a...
I am her dance teacher.
Oh, wow.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Ooh, oh. You say I'm in love when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak.
I can kind of make it go fast. Thumb more. Let's go.
2, 4, 6, 8. How does this go?
You're the thumb I really hate. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Oh man, you're kind of good at this. Oh my god. Oh, now I'm dodging. Oh!
What's your name?
Hello, my name is Lee, and, for obvious reasons, I'm also known as the Lost Voice Guy.
Okay, and how long have you lost your voice?
I just knew you were going to ask something that I hadn't thought about beforehand. So please excuse the awkward silence while I type out my answer. I've been speechless for 37 years.
Wow. Tell me why you decided to enter the show this year?
I think I entered Britain's Got Talent for the same reason everyone does. To meet Ant and Dec.
This is all going so well up until that point. The stage, Lee, is yours.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you may be able to tell, I'm a struggling stand-up comedian who also struggles to stand up. To be honest, I'm not sure how good I am. I'll leave that for you to decide. But, just so you know, if you don't laugh at the disabled guy, you are going to hell. When I realized I'd never be able to talk again, I was speechless. I have lived in Newcastle all my life.
Yes!
But for some reason, I still haven't picked up the accent. I can see that some of you are trying to figure out where you know me from. Maybe it would help if I started saying phrases such as, the next train to arrive on platform 4 is the 12:52 service to London King's Cross. And, from my time at the post office, please go to cashier number 8. I got the train here today. I always like to sit in those seats for disabled people. I was about halfway here when another disabled person got on and asked me to move. I didn't realize I'd be playing disabled top trumps when I got on, or I would have dressed more special. Needless to say, I didn't give up my seat. Who cares if he was both blind and deaf? I was there first. It was very awkward. He couldn't see that I was still there. And I couldn't tell him I wasn't moving because I can't speak. Before I leave you, I have one more thing to say. I hate that we have so many politically correct words to describe disabled people now. It's all special needs, special schools, Special Olympics. I don't know what is so special about me. That is why it always alarms me when I hear about special forces going to war. You've been a fantastic audience.
That was good.
I want to have a go around and just give a minute and let everyone share what they thought about the compilation of different artists that I had put together and what are insights in you.
Empathy, humility,
Inspiration and joy.
Normalcy.
I would say inspiration also.
Thank you, guys. When I think of, having the challenges I have, I think about all of the pain points. I think about all of the ways life is a little more difficult than what I think my normal should be. And when I was coming up with the subject of today's session and starting to think about what the intention was, I realized from watching all these wonderful people, and I went through a lot of other artists and creators, and saw a lot of different works and a lot of different people with many different disabilities and challenges. And with everything that you guys mentioned, I had the same feelings of empathy and inspiration, and it really made me remember that in the times that I'm doing that mental self-care, doing meditation and doing things to find joy, one of them should be having that time of just looking at those pain points differently, spending time meditating on a different perspective. A lot of times, especially from my peers with CF, it comes up with people who don't see us as sick as, we look really good because maybe we're smaller than everyone else. And that's due to many reasons. We may not see it that way. Definitely when I was younger, and this is me looking at a different perspective, that definitely resonated with me because it was easier for me to eat like a pig and not really gain any weight or change shape. So it was a positive, and it was something that, I didn't see as a challenge at all. If anything, it was something that I was kind of known for and praised for. I could just eat anything and, I'd be okay. Or if anyone's looking for me, they look to find where the food is and they usually will find me. So stuff like that as an adult, I don't reflect on it the same way just because I've been trying to gain weight. So it became more of a pain point because it became more of a struggle than it was when I was younger, especially because I'm not eating the same stuff. I'm eating healthier. So it's harder to keep a weight and a shape that I like and that I'm comfortable with while still making sure that, I'm taking care of myself the best way possible. But it has really kind of made me want to draw a list of all these things I see as challenges and see if I can see another perspective, find inspiration, and maybe even joy in those challenges, looking from a different perspective. And this is really just for my sake, not to find a sense of normalcy in it, just finding another way to heal mentally in areas that I may have been avoiding, ignoring, or at some point is usually like the bane of me going to the clinics or doctors to do check-ins because it's like I already have anxiety about those things. But I never thought about looking at it in a different way or using it or finding it as inspiration for something else. What do you guys think about that for yourselves?
I watched something yesterday by a scientist named Billy. I forgot his last name. I'm going to look it up in a few seconds. But it was super interesting. And he talked from this perspective, having things, wrong with him and things, things he was trying to seek wellness in regards to whether it was mental wellness or physical wellness, because he grew up so poor and he is so massively rich at this point. And yet, he does have several challenges. So his perspective was from us to think, to live, to speak from a perspective of forgiveness, and constantly be in a state in your everyday life of forgiving yourself, because there's thought processes that go through your mind, and that you have things that you have done or done to people or thought or things of that nature that you need to forgive yourself with. And in his process, it was a lot of mirror work, which I love. And when I did the mirror work last night, I literally found some relief. He literally, it literally drove me towards some relief, and that was cool. And so he also shared how to do it on a daily basis, because there are ways to do it on a daily basis. He also talked about sitting with psychologists and things like that, because there was a lot of mental stuff that he was doing specifically, but also for healing physical pain that he was also experiencing. He talked about mirror work. So, yeah, I'm thinking that this perspective of mirror work is beneficial. Okay, that's it.
I really hope you're able to find that so you can share it in the chat. I want to ask the group, is there any moment where just being more lighthearted or finding laughter in your challenge help you do something really heavy?
All the time. All the time. And I'm nodding my head as I say it, but I'm also feeling it in my chest as I say it. And I think it's oh, what's the word? I can't really think of what I want to say right now, but laughter diffuses the pain. Laughter eases it. And so for me, I would tell jokes in the middle of expressing something so difficult, or even feeling the pain of something difficult. And then even my sons, when they were younger, they'd say, "You're so confusing, Mom." Like, because how could you be crying and crack a joke and then go back to crying? Or how can you be upset and crack a joke and then go back to be? And I keep telling them it's a diffusion for me, right? It allows me to be stronger in the middle of the difficulty. So all the time. Coping mechanism. I couldn't think of it, but it's coping mechanism, but it's also, forgive me for jumping back in, but it's also just my way. There are times I know that I'm using it as coping, but there are times I'm just using it just because it's me. It's me bringing levity to things. And you showed us these people with all their different difficulties or differences or disabilities, whatever you want to call it. And you yourself talked about how you think about your pain points. And if we don't, I think for me, if I don't find a creative outlet, a joyous outlet, a moment of levity in things, and if I can't share something positive, then it's going to be making it harder for me and for everybody around me. So for me, it's a coping mechanism, but it's also my way of being. I don't know if it's true for other people.
I always see my I guess push to be creative and like use my art as my coping mechanism. Sometimes I feel like though it's also a way for me to kind of avoid thinking about the challenge because it's kind of a distraction from it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I feel like with anything you do in excess, it can be a little dangerous. It can become a bit of an addiction that can kind of get out of control that you don't really see. And it can be a small thing. It's just that I know in my mind I'm avoiding something, even though I'm doing this thing that is making, me have joy, but it's like almost like in spite of the challenge. So I definitely could benefit from doing that mirror work that Nina mentioned. I'm glad you were able to share that. I'm going to check it out in a sec. But I really do love to laugh. I love to laugh. Um, it's difficult this day and age sometimes. I know a lot of people want to be politically correct. Sometimes people are scared to laugh at certain things because they don't want to be canceled. But I have to say, I love to laugh. If you fall in front of me, I'm gonna laugh. I laugh at myself. There's so many more reasons to smile, to laugh, to just connect with someone on that level, just for the moment, because you're gonna deal with whatever the issue is later anyway. So you might as well kind of have some fun going through it. That's how I feel anyway. So I can definitely find myself laughing at pain, laughing at the challenges. Um, I feel like that is a great way to connect people too. If they're not the one being laughed at, sometimes people can take it, sometimes they can't. Like I said, if you fall, I hope you laugh too, because I'm definitely gonna chuckle at least twice before I help you up. But I invite you all, if you have a funny moment you want to share, or it's like absurd situation that you couldn't help but just laugh at, even though you know that it was going to be a struggle after the fact, but in the moment you couldn't help yourself.
Okay, y'all, I've been trying to be quiet. But
I
I don't know. I don't know. I just been trying to be quiet. But you asked like so many questions, and then when I wanted to jump in, I'm like, no, don't say that. No. So one of the things that is a challenge for me in my life is anxiety. I have crippling anxiety. A lot of people don't know it. They can't even tell. And I have real big bouts with depression. And a lot of people cannot externally tell because why? I'm constantly laughing. I'm constantly dancing. Dancing is a way for me to alleviate like whatever is going on. I will just break out in a song and dance randomly. And I know people probably think I'm quote unquote special. Like the people on the stage were making fun of themselves because sometimes I'm laughing or dancing in a situation and it doesn't make sense for the time or the place. But I'm like, I have to do this to let out, this nervous energy or whatever. But as you guys were talking in the video, there were so many things that came to my mind. And I know a few of you have children, you're educators, you work with different people. And there's one book that I wanted to share with y'all. It's called Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. It is a children's chapter book. It's appropriate for like fifth graders, middle schoolers, but I find it interesting for all ages. And basically, it's about a young woman. Well, she's a little girl who can't speak, like that last comedian. She can't talk. And the way she's treated prior to people realizing that she's extremely smart, she just can't communicate. And so she's been treated like a child her whole life. And I'm circling back to this because you asked about all of these different things, right? So my reaction to the video was normalcy, right? Normalcy. Because though those people, we look at them as inspiring, we look at them empathetically, but that is their normal. Whatever is plaguing you in your life is your normal. That's your normal. And when you can see yourself in the mirror, we're constantly comparing. Like, oh, I don't have hands, so I'm special. Like the dude was like, everything is special. But in his life, no hands, that's his normal. I'm trying to make it all connect here. When you are born a certain way or you have developed something over a long period of time, that becomes your normal. You try to fight it, you try to resist it, but I feel like the more I started to embrace my specialness, the things that make me specially abled, the more I started to embrace it as this is just me normally. My friend group changed, my energy levels changed, everything changed for the better in my life when I just embraced that I'm normal. When I get around the wrong group of people, oh, she's weird. Oh my gosh, why is she laughing inappropriately? But for the people who know me and know I mean no harm, they're like, oh, that's just her. She's normal. And I don't know if that means anything to y'all, but I laugh. And even my students, it's gotten to the point that when I'm teaching and I make a big mistake, like I said, anxiety, I used to ruminate about things, like get home and be like, I taught that lesson all wrong. Oh my God. And then I have a funny story. It's related, but I feel like I've been talking too long. I was wearing like a fake hairpiece, like a bun on my hair. And I was teaching elementary school at the time. Anxiety, scared, fearful, a lot early in my career. But I was wearing this ponytail bun on the back of my head. And I'm hard down teaching, y'all. And the bun falls off in front of the class. My ponytail falls off in front of the students, right? But I'm hard down teaching. None of the kids laugh. None of the kids say anything. They're like, oh! You can hear the gasp. So then I turn around and one brave kid is like, your hair fell off. I was so embarrassed. But I picked up my little bun. I picked it up off the floor and I burst into laughter. And all the kids was like, oh my God. It was like the most memorable moment. I didn't let my anxiety overtake me in that moment. I didn't, it was just like, this is my normal. I would have been in tears, being not able to cope. But that ponytail fell off. And instead of freezing up in that moment, crying and running out the room, I picked it up, sat it on the table, burst into laughter, and kept teaching. And it was like the most memorable moment. And those kids, they're adults now. They still remember that. So when we look at ourselves as normal and have people in our village that embrace our specialness as normal, I think it just changes everything. It changes everything about you. When you just look at yourself as this is my normal.
It's hilarious. Not gonna jump in with another question. I'm gonna let y'all cook. Go ahead.
Y'all know, some of y'all know I went on a trip the other day, just a day trip to, oh wait, do y'all know that? I don't know. But I went on a day trip too. Sorry. Telling you for the first time. That's okay. It was a day trip, and I went to Sight and Sound. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Sight and Sound. It's with they do the Bible story. It's a theater group where they do the Bible story. Amazing. So we saw the story of Noah. So one of the church ladies who was always so serious, she gets on. She's sweet. She laughs and stuff like that too, but she's so serious. So unfortunately, you know how elder folks, sometimes they can drag the toilet tissue with them from the bathroom. So yes, that's what she did. And it was like so ooey and gooey and a mess. And nobody told her. I was like, she must feel and I ripped it off and said, look on the ground, look on the ground. Like just so that she would like laugh at it or just, and she was like, swept it under the chair and just kept going. But it was cool. But it was just so just a moment. I was like, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna laugh? Is she gonna? And she was just like froze up. It was just a moment. But it was just like one of those weird things that happens to people. And but yeah, I grew up with handicapped people in my household, and oddly enough, some of you guys know that my husband is now handicapped. So having like empathy and also knowing that some things are their superpower is really, to me, just a cool thing. And yeah, I definitely know that is their normal every day. And so patience is just something that you must have. I think it's an absolute must. It's required, you know. Patience with yourself, not with the person who claims to be normal, you know. Actually, because like you said, that is their normal. So since that is their normal and you are functioning at a different level, you have to be more, me personally, I have to be more patient, you know. And yes, laugh at lots of stuff.
I like what you said about the empathy that it incited, the videos incited,
For sure.
and having patience.
Yeah.
Because I know we forget that. We get caught up in our normals. And sometimes other relationships don't fit into the normal, and we lose patience
Mm-hmm.
and don't realize that made us also lose empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Lots of changes in the world when you're dealing with something. Why you guys so quiet?
I know these chatterboxes usually, right?
Like what?
I got the line to toss. But go ahead.
No, I love Gloria's antidote. That was just super cool. And how the kids didn't say anything. They are funny. Kids can be so funny. When the kids grew up and then met you again and then reminded you of the story, did they laugh about it, or how did they react at that point?
So I've been teaching for a long time, and I happen to live in the community where I taught for many years. So yes, when it came back up, I'm like, how you gonna let me stand there with my little nub on the back of my head without telling me my bun fell off? And we just enjoyed that moment and that laugh together. And there's a lot of things that kids will remind me of 10 years later. I don't even remember. And it's just hilarious. And like when years ago, I have plenty of stories like that. Years ago, my car, like I said, I have crippling anxiety, and I will let things play over and over in my mind. I should have did it this way. I should have said that. I should have said this. This should have happened. But then fast forward, and it becomes like this thing for me, but for other people, they don't even remember sometimes. So I ran into a child later on at a gas station, and this child was now a man. And he was like, that's my teacher. That's my old teacher. That's my old teacher. And he was like, you still look the same, da 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 da. And then he reminds me of a time. Now, in this time in my life, my students didn't know, but I was going through a very financially crippling hardship, just financial hardship. I was living with my dad at the time with 3 children, single mother, and my car was broken. It wasn't working. And my dad, as kind as he was back then, he went and got my car fixed under the assumption that I was going to pay him back. So he came to my school, y'all. He came. Now, my family really didn't know about, I've been diagnosed with depression, like clinical depression and anxiety, right? And that's something I really never shared with my family. Never shared. I've been diagnosed, like medicated sometimes for it. So my dad knew nothing of this. And at that time, I really didn't even know what I was dealing with. I just knew it was abnormal the way I was reacting to things. My dad came to the classroom. They let him in the building. He came all the way, walked to my classroom, y'all. And so he comes in and they're like, your dad is here to visit you. I'm like, okay, let him in. So he comes to my classroom, and this is what this child is reminding me of at this gas station. And so my dad is like, oh, so the car is going to be like $2,500 to fix. And I literally, at that moment, didn't know that I was dealing with these emotional issues, but I began to like, tears were coming out my eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, Daddy, $2,500. And like, I'm shaking, my lip is quivering. There's 20 something, 30 something kids in the classroom at the time now. But my dad is giving me this news. And, you know, he got his little visitor's badge on and everything. And he tells me, and I think he saw in that rescue, you know, that rescue father came out of him like, oh my God, this disturbed my kid. So then he yelled out in the class, what the hell is $2,500? And all the kids are like, ah, your daddy cussing. So my dad just screams out in the class, like, stop that. What the hell is $2,500? And you know, he said, what the F is $2,500? So this child was like, that is the most memorable time in my elementary school when my teacher, who doesn't curse, who's always smiling, her daddy comes in and cusses in front of the whole class because, you know, I was so visibly upset about the price. And that child reminded me of that. And we both just hysterically laughed at that gas pump. And he was like, you're like the coolest teacher I've ever had. And he gets in his car and drives off.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. They remembered it from a different perspective.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, yo, daddy is, and that I gave them these memory books at the end. Like, what is your most memorable part of fourth grade? And a lot of the kids wrote about that. When you cried and your daddy cussed and said, what the F is $2,500? After all of that teaching, the science experiments we've done, all of this stuff, that's the thing you remember. That's what you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. That my daddy said the F word in the classroom.
Right, because you're so straight-laced.
Oh my God, yes. It was just an amazing thing. And at that time, I don't think my dad ever knew. Later on, I was diagnosed. At that moment, I did not know that I was suffering with this. They call it some type of disorder. I did not know back then that I had this issue with dealing with these things until I got diagnosed. Like, why is my heart rate? And it was affecting my health. Dizziness, fainting, heart rate, blood pressure, all of these different things coming from just this disposition of overly worrying. I don't even know where I picked that up. But my coping mechanism is laughter. But the other people that are witnessing this in your lives, sometimes you think something makes you disabled, or you think something makes you, you know, like different or weird. And everybody else around you, because my anxiety makes me very straight-laced, very prepared, very, organized on the outwardly organized. But on the inside, my desk, everybody can tell you my desk is a hot mess because everything is chaotic. But I appear very organized.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how you can see yourself as disabled. You can see these disabilities. You know these disabilities, but yet in the eyes of others, you are a hero. It makes you special. It makes you unique. It's that quality that they absolutely love and adore about you. But to somebody, and in another group, it's a special need. In a different group, it's a special need.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I know I talk all over the place, but yeah.
Yeah, it makes tons of sense. It makes all the sense to me. And if you could use challenges as wait, you said the word before. It's better to use the word instead of challenges, or I even use the word challenges all the time, but I'm going to start to use the word contrast instead of challenges. Contrast, because that's really what it is. They're contrasts of what we want as normalcy, right? We want something that feels a little more normal, and in the moment, contrast is happening, So yeah, I want to switch that word for myself. Because
I like that switcheroo.
got plenty of contrast, you guys. Plenty.
I was just pondering on the video again and the opportunities that them using their challenge to share with the world in the way that they do, and what some of those men and women have gone on to become really famous in what they do, dance and in comedy, as a disabled person. And it's just again inspiring how they've taken that to the wind and made it, work for them in those ways. And I feel like over the last 4 to 5 years that I've become more comfortable sharing my challenges and opening myself up a bit more to share, connect with people. And it has offered a lot of opportunities for me to grow in those challenges, grow as a person, um, get connected and network with different people who have helped me with even more opportunities, whether it be like resources, grants, different ways of either dealing with the challenge or places where the challenge is normal. And it doesn't even exist as a challenge. It's just a thing because everyone pretty much has a challenge. So in that group or with that community, we're doing something else totally different where that's not even doesn't even phase us. I wanted to know if anyone else had similar experiences where their challenge led to opportunities or just put them in a different community where they grew because of it.
Annette, repeat your question, please.
Absolutely. My question was if anyone has had opportunities because of their challenge or their disability, or that challenge or disability has put them in a community where they were able to use that disability or challenge for their growth. Was that clear? Because it was almost like two in one. Let me know if I need to clarify that a bit more.
I think it was clear. Opportunities because of the challenge or using your challenge for growth, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that we're really quiet today, and I'm thinking about the context of, and I'm getting off of the question for a minute, but I'm thinking about the context of the faith and friendship meetings and then the videos and all the people we saw today, and how many of them were comedians and they're making people laugh and we're laughing. Like I said, I had a smile on my face just watching all of them. But I'm quiet because it is a very powerful message, right? I listened to Gloria and what she shared about teaching and the impact of that experience with her dad and coming in and just the whole experience, and what a powerful lesson it is for those kids for their whole lives. That makes a difference. Are they going to stress over money and over calamities or over sudden problems that beset them? Or are they going to remember that story, and are they going to laugh, and are they going to say it's going to be okay? So I'm quiet because I'm kind of processing all of that. But to get back to your question, certainly for me, writing saved my life. It saved my life as a kid, going through so many different kinds of trauma ongoing at home. Um, and then coming to this country and being an undocumented alien or whatever you want to call me. And just all of my experiences. So writing saved me. And then when the boys got their diagnoses and I had my car accident a few months later, writing saved me again. Writing saved me through divorce. Writing saved me being a single parent to 2 sick sons, not knowing what they had, what they were struggling with. And then to process their diagnosis, I started writing again. And then through that, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, I was able to write for them. You know, I haven't done it for quite a while. My boys are like, okay, don't write anything about us. Don't put our names online. Don't do it. So I have to respect that. And I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way to communicate things without necessarily drawing reference to them. So the difficulties, the challenges propelled my growth, but then they also provided opportunities for me to do what I'm doing today and what I've been doing increasingly and receiving and finding so much joy in. Like I wake up in the morning, I want to sit down and write. And I need to read so I could write, but I want to write so much that sometimes I don't want to read, you know? And it doesn't matter if it's if one person reads what I write or 100 people read what I write, it's that I get to do this thing that's consistently healing for me. The writing is my mirror, right? It speaks back to me and it helps me to reframe my thinking and reframe my spirit constantly. Long-winded answer.
I appreciate it. It's very detailed.
And I was going to say thank you, Michelle, for sharing that because, wow, because it's crazy how things that we have developed for whatever reason, you know, you develop a skill, or art, or a talent, whether it came through trauma, drama, or, some type of, you had a special circumstance or disability which made you stronger in another area and develop something. It is comforting to others as well. Like, no matter how special we are, we still have something to contribute. And I mean special, like how that one comedian was saying, if we all special, and then he was questioning the special forces. That was so funny to me. But we all have something that makes us differently abled. We do. But the fact that those different abilities also bring out different gifts, because we're differently abled, it brings out a gift that other people who are considered normal might not have. And we have something to contribute to the world. And that's very special. Even if it came out of a trauma or something that happened in your life, it produced something that is now healing or teaching for others. And the one thing I can say is that I resonate with children. It's something about children, and I really resonate. And children who are the weird kids, like the weird kids, the kids with anxiety, the kids that are differently abled, they resonate with me. They resonate with me strongly. And I heard this new term, I never heard it before, in education called Velcro kids. Never heard it before, didn't know what it meant until one of my coworkers was like, "You got a bunch of Velcro kids." And I'm like, "What is that? I never even heard of that." And it's basically kids who stick to you. No matter what you do, you could be on your worst day, whatever, they just stick to you. They follow you. They want to be with you. Everywhere you go, they want to be with you. At recess, all the kids go off and play, but there's a select group of kids and they're just stuck to me. I have to make them go play. Get out my face, go play. And they will laugh and then they'll circle right back around and come sit by me. And I'm like, get out my face. We done seen each other all day. And then they'll laugh, circle back around and come right back. And I always ask myself, what is the attraction? Because I'm not exceptionally nice to you, but they see something and they resonate with me and it sticks them to me. So though I'm differently abled in a way that some kids can clearly see, and they see that similar energy and they know I'm a safe space. They know I'm a safe place. And kids share the most deep things with me. They share, oh my gosh, the things kids feel safe enough to tell me. So I just wanted to say that whatever you're going through or have been through, you have inspired somebody through it, and you might not even know the impact and power that you're having on something you could have previously viewed as negative. Yeah, I I hope I was making sense.
Yeah, I agree that, yeah, you make sense.
I agree, and you make a million percent sense. And I know that's not mathematically correct, but that's my math today, okay? So take it.
I can definitely say I'm going to be sitting with thinking about shifting perspectives on challenges, disabilities, and the word normal. Even the word challenge, because I feel like we can definitely, I mean, while that's rewording disability in the sense, I like exploring language and how we're using words, and I'd like to come up with more words for disability, challenge. And what did you say again, Nina?
It's really all contrast. And
Contrast. Let me break
Bill,
that down.
the first time that I'm hearing it, honestly, it's not the first. I listened to another person online that I've been listening to for years and reading her books and et cetera, et cetera. You guys might know Abraham.
Yes, yes.
So she uses this term constantly, right? Contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get that from
Forgot
there.
about her. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Get that from there. And it is so helpful because it is exactly what is, going on in your world in the moment. You're usually dealing with some contrast, something that's not, maybe it's not exactly how you want it to be going, life, but it's a contrast of that. So, sometimes, if you're dealing with something, it could be a complete contrast of just what you are either A, used to, or B, um, familiar with. Yep. And it all is a contrast. Even having something sort of wrong with you is a contrast. But, the light at the end of the tunnel is definitely saying to yourself every day, you got to heal. You're going to heal. This is not the end all be all. In fact, um, your challenge, your contrast that you're dealing with is happening for you and not to you. That's something that I want to keep saying to myself because I want to understand how it's going to help me get to the other side, what the other side looks like, all of those things. So, yeah.
Nina, I wonder that too. I guess watching those people, I wonder what it took to get them to that place of being okay with whatever their normalcy was or is, you know, because I would imagine, that they definitely stand out, and what it took for them to mentally feel comfortable enough to advocate for people like them. I wonder what goes on in their head. Like, do they still have challenges? Like, they got on the stage and showed us this and that, but then when they're alone by themselves, what runs through their mind or what keeps them going? Of course, I haven't had a chance to view what you put in the chat, but it says something about healing and spiritual drama. No, getting past your trauma because you need to be spiritually healed. I'm just curious, like what did they say about that?
Did they say about what?
About healing yourself from the trauma. Oh,
Oh,
guys, I might have to come right back. Someone's calling me. Sorry, guys. I'll be back in the chat in a moment.
It's okay. He says a lot about healing trauma, though. When you guys listen to it, you're going to be fascinated, like so fascinated, like beyond fascinated. That he says some things that I've never heard before. I am so impressed with him. I'm literally going to go to his website when I get an opportunity and really dive deep, as deep as I possibly can without it warping my brain. But what he says about trauma is like having been being he was a kid at 12. I don't know if you guys remember yourselves at 12. I remember myself at 12. Father came into his bedroom, told him, I'm not giving you anything anymore. You're going to have to bring $100 into the house every week. And we no longer are going to give you anything anymore. That is crazy to say to, your 12-year-old and just thinking about my 12-year-olds when I had them, when they were 12. I definitely didn't have the courage to say anything like that, and wouldn't say anything like that. Wouldn't even put that in my mouth. And that was said to him, and what he did about it afterwards, fascinating. Just him as a human being, he's fascinating, but not to get caught up on him. But what he is saying is so resonant with your spirit, and you're gonna really love it.
Nina, can you type his name in the chat or
Put
say
Billy.
his name again?
I put his name is Billy Carson.
Oh, I can't see it. Okay.
Wait. Let me see.
Billy Carson?
I put the link, and then which you can copy paste into your.
Right.
But then it's Billy Carson is his name. Such a simple name, such an easygoing guy. You would think that he would be anywhere and everywhere that you would see him. But no, he is really coveted who he is and what he is all about. He is freaking fascinating. And that the fact that he's like a multi-millionaire, almost like he probably is a billionaire. I don't know because I didn't look at his stuff, but I think he's a billionaire. And not the first time either, like the second time or something. Like his story, yeah, fascinating, hands down. Fascinating. And I hope that you guys get a lot from it, specifically about trauma, because that is something that I didn't know could travel with us as human beings for millions of years. And since we are spiritually millions of years old, what the F? We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of mirror work to do. So, if we are, and the beautiful thing is, like, because he's talking about manifestation quite a bit, and you guys all have manifested things into your life, and he talks about how to manifest better, which is, first of all, the first time I've heard some of the things that he said about that, because I listened to a lot of stuff on manifestation. So some of the things that he says there is amazing, but how it associates and how it connects with your trauma, now that was a blessing. And it will bless you to hear it, because you will be able to peel it apart and to remove some trauma. Trust me, you're gonna do it. Trust me, you're gonna love it.
I'm just trying to find him on YouTube.
Beautiful thing is, you cannot find him on YouTube. He
I was
has.
going to say, I
I shared a
cannot
link in the
find
chat. You gotta just
anything.
You
search
might.
his name and pick up other people's interviews with him.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna see, but you won't see his stuff. His stuff is what you want to dive into, because he's so fascinating that you just want to kind of like ignore. Sometimes when people interview, when Lewis Howes interviews, it's from an intellectual standpoint, in my opinion. Not everybody interviews the same, and if you look at an interviewer, and sometimes they insert their own stuff in there. And although Lewis Howes definitely will insert his own stuff, he does allow the interviewee to talk and to really expose themselves and really be vulnerable. And that's nice, because he's not impatient. He's super duper patient, and he's super duper learned and listening. And that is, what that person needs to be to have on the opposite side of the table so they can tell their story. But he has a website, and I think I wrote it down. I'm gonna check my phone again. I think I wrote it down. Oh, yes, it's forbiddenknowledge.com is his website. And it's four with a four, number four, forbiddenknowledge.com. Of course, not his name also.
I found that. I found it.
Cool.
As we are healing ourselves or accepting ourselves, I started to notice this in my life as I worked aimlessly and diligently to heal myself and to accept myself. I started to notice that others around me, as a byproduct, started to heal as well. Like, I literally was in a situation, my brother was hospitalized, and I had this nervous energy because my father just passed away last year. And well, no, it's been, Lord have mercy, Jesus. It's been 1 year. It's been 1 year. So my dad passed away, and hospitals now give me, I don't know, I get sick, like I get shaky. My stomach hurts when I go inside a hospital. So my brother ended up being in the hospital. And while I'm waiting on my brother in an ICU unit, because only 2 people can be in a room at a time. So the waiting room is filled with people, y'all. And my stomach is hurting. I'm shaking. I got goose pimples all over. I don't know if I want to throw up. I don't know if I want to poop. I just feel horrible, right? And I put my earbuds in and I go to YouTube and I put on my favorite song. And I'm looking out the window of the ICU and everybody's in there feeling their different emotions. And then my favorite song by Whitney Houston comes on, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Lord have mercy. In this ICU waiting room, I just start dancing. There are families in there, you know, they're waiting to go back because only 2 people can be in the ICU room at a time. Because we were like in the high part, like these people were like really high risk people. So only 2 could go back. And then as he went down, more people could be in the room, but he was in a room where only 2 people could be in. So while I was waiting, all of these emotions came and I started dancing because it's the only way I know how to cope with extreme emotions. And I'm saying, oh, I want to dance, you know, just mumbling to myself. And then I noticed these families are like in the midst of it, like they're worried about their loved one. And as I'm coping with my own anxiety, my own inability to just sit there and be quiet, I started dancing and humming the words to myself. I could see like this little toddler kind of looking like oddly, but smiling. And it made the little toddler laugh. And then one of the people that cleaned the hospital, she actually stopped me and started having a whole conversation with me and everything. And as I was feeling better, the energy in that waiting room changed.
Nice.
The energy in there, people are really like, I even want to think that somebody's loved one was about to die. And I told them, please ignore me. I'm anxious. Please ignore me. And literally, I could feel the energy lighten up in that room as I'm dancing, waiting to go see my brother. So as we're healing and, you know, some people might have saw me in the hospital and felt like that was mad disrespectful. But I literally, it was my way of coping with my stomach hurting, the nervousness, the shaking of my knee. I might as well stand up and just dance this energy out, which I did. I went in a corner and I just danced. And just to see that me going through my coping mechanism was actually bringing joy to other people in that room. So as we're healing and coping and learning and dealing with our own selves, we may possibly be healing the people around us as well.
Absolutely. Well said. I definitely feel that energy as I'm in the vibe of other people doing the work. It transfers. Absolutely. I want to respect everybody's time because this is a Sunday, and I know you wonderful women have to mold minds in the morning. And I want to thank you for coming on tonight, sharing. And I know you're going to take this with you and rethink about those contrasts, challenges, and disabilities a bit differently. 1 second. Welcome back, Nina. I was just wrapping up and giving thanks because I want to respect everyone's time. So tomorrow's Monday.
Can I just tell
Absolutely,
Gloria
please.
something? So you said several times about your dance, and I need you to know this because Annette and I went to a reader. Um, uh, Many people call him Baba. I call him Ola. I think Annette has his name in her phone as something else. But nonetheless, we went to him. And one of the classes that I took with him a long, long time ago, and I keep urging him to have classes, but he's writing a book nonetheless. So he said in that class that dance was a way for Africans to welcome, to dispel, to um, give homage, to let go of, to do many things in the tribe. So I want you not to be afraid of your dance. I want you to embrace your dance because it is important. I want you to say, I am not strange, I am African. And that's all you are. I am ancient. Your spirit is connecting to something that is very ancient, something that is very normal, and it is a blessing. Okay? Can you hear me?
Thank you, Nina. Yeah, I
Oh,
was
we
trying to
heard
get the
you. We are
unmute
bowing down.
button.
Yes.
I was trying to get the
You're welcome.
unmute button to say thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It is the truth, though, but it's the truth. And I want you to know that because, when you were saying that, and it's actually he said many things in that class. I learned many things in that class. He's urging him to have another class. With learning issues, some of these people are not necessarily meant to have the same language barriers that we have because they were meant to read stars. They were meant to read the cosmos. They were meant to read mountains, read moons, read things that we cannot necessarily read if we're entangled in a basic language or Spanish language or whatever, or written language, even written language is a
You're breaking up, Nina.
barrier, as some people are.
Nina, your audio is breaking up.
If you have language read, bye.
Yes, we
Okay.
couldn't really
Bye,
hear you.
Nina.
I'm gonna have to press you, Nina, one day to do a presentation as well because you have a lot of gems to drop. So we do want to hear from you at some point. Thank you for giving us that. Well, we could
I need to learn
hear.
more.
I don't know if I was able to hear. Say that again. No, it's in and out. Don't worry,
No,
Nina. I'm
I
gonna get
didn't.
to you. Thank you guys again. Thank you for that last wrap up, Nina. That was a wonderful gem to drop. And that's what I mean about sharing and connecting through your challenge because to me that is also this is a way of growth as we are doing this sharing of lived experiences, having others chime in on how to change our perspective because sometimes we cannot see the forest through the trees and we need someone else to help us. We need a different perspective that is seeing from the same thing we're seeing from a different point to help us see it in a different way, to help guide, to help growth. And I want to thank you all for doing that tonight and gave me a lot to think about. I'm sure you guys are leaving with a lot to think about as well. I'm hoping that we will share this offline as well because like what you mentioned about the dance, things like that, that we, marry ourselves to what quote unquote normal is for the society and space and time that we're in. sometimes keeps us from seeing things a different way because it's not considered normal. And I would love to delve into that in a future session. Have a wonderful night, guys. I hope everyone has a wonderful week.